Okay, chances are your real estate team falls into one of three categories. And depending on where you are, your next move could make or break your business. Let's be real for a second. Most real estate teams are kind of a hot mess behind the scenes. Well, today, Press and I break down the glob, the group, and the team. And we help you identify where you really stand and some of the traps that hold team leaders back at each level. This is the Built to Scale podcast. Let's dig in.
Hey everyone, Press McKissick here. I'm one of the co-founders of Scale, and my family built a 7th level real estate team that they eventually sold for 7 figures. And I get to work with top real estate teams all over the country on how they build businesses so that they can make the kind of money they want to make and ultimately buy back their time.
Hi, I'm Andy Fenstermaker, and I run Scale. I work with tons of teams to help implement our system into their business and help them grow at every single level. And speaking of level, today we're going to look at the 3 levels of a team and what we have kind of recognized as being really the only 3 levels you can be as a team, and what that looks like and what some of the problems they face are. So let's dive right on in. Press, what's the first level?
Well, level 1 is not a fun place to be, and if you, some of you may or may not recognize this place because it might be a place you're either in or it's a place that you've hopefully moved through at some point. But I would say most people, when you start getting in the people side of the business, start in this area, and we call that level 1 is the glob. It is basically a group of people that are all connected by a single credit card. There's, you have no support staff or value on your team. You have very little to any productive agents on your team. You don't have any systems, like whether it's people systems or production systems, and then ultimately you're making less profit. The way I like to look at these levels, Andy, is as I go through each one of these, I want you to think about your business, and I want you to pull your personal, if you run a team, pull your personal production out of the equation and just look at the GCI, right? Or not the GCI, excuse me, the profit from that team if you pull your personal production out of it. And so generally we see with a glob, they're making less than $5,000 a month in profit from their, I'm going to say team with quotation marks, their glob.
Yeah. I really see the glob as including 2 different groups because but they really align in similar fashions. One, they've either been at this for a bit and their team is just highly dysfunctional in the way that you say, and what we've talked about in previous videos as well. The production is dependent on the rainmaker, the team leader, and the profit from the other salespeople on the team is minimal. Or 2, you're in that kind of messy beginning, and you're just trying to figure out, where do I go from here?
Yep. How do I build a team, right?
Yeah.
What does this look like? That would be a lot of first time people who've never built a team. They tend to pass through, right? I think about like Candyland. Yeah. I've got 2 young kids, so I think about Candyland. I don't know what you think about, but I think about like going through the licorice. Oh gosh, I forget his name. The licorice guy. He's you don't want to stop in that spot. So a lot of people go through as they're building a team. They kind of go through the land of glob as they gain the pieces they need in order to move past it to level 2.
And I think the reason we kind of lump these 2 together under level 1 is because the problems they face are the same.
That's right. The same problems, right?
Yeah.
So it's just the difference is how quickly they move out of level 1, right? Some stay stuck in level 1 forever and then give up and go back to being a individual agent. And some people gain the skills and move past it.
Yeah. And in future videos, we're going to dive deeper into each level and what the problems they face, how to get beyond them. But let's just tease out a little bit. What are those problems? What problems do they face at that level?
Yeah, level 1's really 3 things. You've got knowledge. Like, you don't even know like I don't know what I don't know, right? So that would be the first one, is like, what do I need to know in order to build a team? The second would be structure. How do I structure my business so that it is a business that people can fit into, and I'm not just making decisions on the fly for that sounds good and let's do it that way, and then you end up having this Frankenstein of a business, right? So structure would be number two, and then the third would be value. Do you actually have a value proposition that people would want to come and stay for, right? Because there are people who you might be very charismatic and you might be able to get people to join you, but if there is no value, they will either erode your profits over time by asking for more money, or they will leave you and they will go on to another opportunity, right? Remember, talent only leaves when there's no more opportunity.
Yeah. So, like I said, we'll dive deeper into these pieces in a future video. So let's move on to number 2, level 2. What is level 2? What does that look like?
Yeah, level 2 is you get to graduate from a Glob to a group. So congratulations. I would say there are the two biggest categories are going to be a Glob, and then the second would be a group. And what you figured out when you build a group is you're no longer just a collection of people all tied to one credit card. There's actually there's some support and value. There are some productive sales agents on your team. There are some production systems, but what's likely missing is you have no people systems in place. Yeah. And so, the problems, Andy, like the level 2 problems that you would see when you're building a team when you're, this would be the group, right? Level 2 is you have no people systems, and you're kind of in that revolving door of finding talent and keeping talent. Yeah. And so many teams I work with, Andy, that we work with, are in this revolving door of they're struggling because they have some value, but not quite enough value. They haven't put all the pieces together yet to really have a high value team that they can bring in great talent, and then that talent doesn't leave in a year or two.
Yeah, we've got some great frameworks in our 3 levels of a team blueprint that walks through basically how to provide more value, as well as all of the different problems that we're talking about today. So if you want to grab that, we'll have a link down in the description where you can grab that document. What does that group look like from a profit level? Once again, stripping out the rainmaker or team leader.
I would say the range here, typically, right, if a Glob was less than $5,000 of profit, again, removing out your personal production, you're looking at anywhere from $5,000 a month in profit to $25,000 a month. Yeah. That's typically when you and I are working with teams, Andy, that's typically the range we see. Yeah. You're likely somewhere in sort of that messy middle, if you will, of starting to build and scale a productive group or team.
Yeah. And at this level, you're probably looking at what, like 3 to 10 sales agents or so, give or take?
I would say that's, again, it's going to differ depending on where you are in the country and whatnot, but that's probably a good range, is 3 to 10.
Yeah. Cool. Let's move on to level 3, the pinnacle.
That's where it gets fun.
And what I love is that even at level 3, there are problems that you face that keep you from growing and really becoming all that you can be.
Absolutely. I mean, it's like the journey of building a business, Andy, is the same journey of personal growth. The moment John Maxwell is a friend and a mentor of mine. And I've gotten to spend some great time with him. And one of the things that I admire the most about him is that man is the most learning-based individual I've ever met. And he is, in his 80s, and he is still taking notes and showing up for things and learning from people and hungry to grow. Building a business and personal growth, those two activities mirror themselves. And so you will never be, to your point, you will never be done building your business. It'll always be an evolving, growing, alive organism that you have to continually nurture. And so level 3, what that would look like, we call that a team. So you've gone from a Glob to a group. Now you're officially a team. And, let's start with profit for a minute. The way that's going to look is you're probably making $25,000 or more per month. Again, removing out your personal production and profit. And you probably have a really strong support staff. Your administrative hub, as we would call it, is probably really strong and well functioning. You have a killer rockstar director of operations and admin hub. And you also, if I looked at your value proposition, it's probably really strong. Like, you've done an amazing job of building value so that people come and less people want to leave. You probably also have quite a few productive agents on your team who are actively contributing to the success and the growth of the team. And then you probably have really strong production systems, and you're starting to build stronger people systems into the business. And those would be some of the key things I think would show up. And you would, when you wake up in the morning, you're excited to go to work because you know you have the right people, and you have your foundation is strong, and you know that you can build upon it.
What I love about all of this and about scale is that we work with teams at every single level who have taken on our system and are implementing it at varying levels. But when it comes to level 3, that one's so fascinating because it's almost like you've already reached that top of the ladder, right?
Yeah.
But yet problems still exist. What
For sure.
What problems do they face?
Well, I think number one would be creating. So we talked about the systems, right? I bet for most teams, level 3 teams that we work with, they're very consistent on the production side, and they're starting to build, whether they're partnered with us or not, they're starting to build some people systems or people habits, like constantly, beginning to look for talent, but the consistency lacks. So if I looked at one of my favorite things when I'm working with a team owner and they want to figure out why they're struggling on the people side of the business, one of the first things I will say to them is, hey, show me your calendar and show me how much time you're spending looking for talent. And what do you think I find, Andy, when I do that?
Nothing.
Well, whether it's nothing or it's limited, right? It's way more activities that are focused on the production side than it is the people side. So consistency would be number one. And then number two would be duplicating results. How, if here's the truth, there's a blueprint to success. I guarantee, if you're a team leader and you built a team, you followed your own blueprint of how to be successful. Now you need to take that blueprint and you need to figure out how to duplicate that for the other productive salespeople on your team in a way that anyone can do it, not just you. And so duplicating success would be number two. And then the final one, Andy, would be buying back your time. And that's really where, as the Rainmaker, you start to play a really fun game, which I love to coach people to play, which is what are the pieces I need to continue to hand away to people who are better at the job than me? And how do I need to what do I then take my time and go do to make my world bigger? Because I said this earlier, talent only leaves you when the opportunity they want is yours and you're not moving, or there's no more opportunity. And so if you're going to commit to the people side, you better commit to making your world bigger. Otherwise, you are going to be the ceiling of achievement. So you get to play the buy back the time game, which is a fun one to play. But it is still a problem, and if you don't play the game, it's going to cost you.
And in a different video, which we'll also link down in the description and comments and etc., you tell a story about somebody who strategically buys back his time.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not going to give it away, but you have to go watch that video for that.
And
but
it's worth the watch, Andy.
Yeah.
That story in last year, that was when I kind of did my review of the year. That story was one of the stories that I highlight as one of the biggest game changers for me personally, and one of the things I've been using to coach top teams with. So it's definitely worth a listen.
I think one thing that we didn't really touch on too much is the concept of vision. And as the team leader, as the Rainmaker, expanding your vision. Can you touch on that very briefly? Because we don't want to, once again, we'll cover that a lot deeper in a future video, but just kind of as one potential problem that leaders face at this level.
For sure. Again, it goes back to talent, the only reason talent leaves your organization is when the opportunities that they want are either the ones you have or there is no more opportunity. And when you look at people who have look at like a Google, like why can Google hire the talent Google can hire? Well, their opportunity is really big, right? They can afford to pay someone top dollar for talent. And I mean, gosh, I would love to work at Google because they have free lunch and they have a sushi bar. Like, come on, like who doesn't want to work in that environment, right? That would be pretty much all it would take for me. So when your opportunities are bigger, you attract bigger people, you attract bigger talent. And this is what I see all the time, Andy, we get to a place where we get, and I mean this with all love in my heart, we get complacent. Yeah. We get to a level and we stop growing. We stop getting bigger. We think we know it all as the team leader or as a person leading a team. And we decide that our world's big enough, we have enough. And what we immediately do when that happens is we just put a ceiling of achievement on everyone who works in our organization.
Yeah.
If you don't make your vision bigger, you are the ceiling. And so that's what I would say is you have to, that vision of getting bigger and bigger is a journey, in my opinion, that never ends. It is directly tied to your personal growth. If personal growth isn't increasing, your business vision and opportunities will cease. If those things, they go hand in hand. If one stops, the other one will too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great segue to kind of wrap things up because we have some great frameworks in our 3 real estate team levels blueprint that goes deeper into this and kind of gives you different ways to think about overcoming all of these different problems, regardless of what level your team is at. So I would definitely check that out. Any final words before we bid viewers farewell?
No, I think the don't get stuck. What I would say is don't get stuck. Understand it's okay wherever you are. Start with reality, right? Be clear on where am I right now? Am I a glob? Am I a group? Am I a team? Understand that there are problems at every level. And I watched this amazing video. If you've seen it, you know. But life doesn't, as you build a better organization, it doesn't get easier. You handle hard better. And so you just learn to handle the problems better, and the problems change and evolve. I will tell you though, as you scale and get, and that's necessarily bigger from a size perspective, but from a profit perspective, it gets more fun, right? Yeah. Because you have more impact, you have more significance, you're creating more opportunity for likely more people, and that's when the game gets fun. So don't get stuck. Understand you can move from level to level, and then ultimately, I would say go get our 3 levels of a team download. And I think read through that, and there's some things in there I think will really help you as you figure out where you are and how do you go to the next level.
Yeah, great. Well, I think that's the perfect place to end, and we'll see you in another video very, very soon.
All right, see you next time. Happy scaling.
All right, so that is the episode. I want to know, are you running a glob, a group, or a true team? The first step is being brutally honest about where you actually are. And the good news is, regardless of your answer, there's a path forward. If you're ready to scale with intention, now's the time to step up your systems, expand your vision, and grow your people. You can delve deeper into the 3 team levels by downloading our blueprint linked down below. Remember, great teams don't happen by accident. They're built with clear systems, strong values, and leaders who never stop their personal growth journey. So, if you took something away from this conversation, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone else who needs to hear it. Before you move on to the next thing, take a second to ask, what level is my team really at? And more importantly, which of the roadblocks is keeping us from reaching that next level? We'll see you in the next episode.